Yesterday, police reported that a 27-year-old woman was stabbed at One Love Junkanoo Shack, but after further investigation, police are making a correction. The stabbing did not happen at the One Love Junkanoo Shack, but at another nearby business on Mount Pleasant Alley off Camp Road. Police are apologizing for any inconvenience caused to the One Love Junkanoo group and encourages the group to continue with its efforts in nurturing youth. Furthermore, the Royal Bahamas Police Force encourages all Junkanoo groups to partner with their divisional commanders to develop strategies that would assist in making their practice sessions safe and incident-free. Atlantis Resorts holding its reputation as an international vacation destination. If you travel to Paradise Island anytime soon, you will see the large amount of visitors taking advantage of not only the Atlantis experience, but what Nassau has to offer. Kerzner International's chief laid out the latest occupancy numbers to reporters today. Altavi's Munnings was there.
Kerzner's Managing Director George Markintone is holding a press conference this afternoon to discuss a number of issues affecting his Paradise Island resort. He initially talked about occupancy numbers and how this month, November 2011, is shaping out to be a whole lot better than last year.
The key is that we have a lot of special events and some very prestigious groups that are staying with us. One prestigious group that the Minister of Tourism, in fact, addressed a few days ago is the ALHI group, ALHI, which really brought together about 250 of the top meeting planners in North America and top hoteliers in North America. In fact, 3 or 4 of my counterparts from Las Vegas mega properties were here. And really, they were here so that the Bahamas could be showcased and so that Atlantis could be showcased.
And those November occupancy numbers can be attributed to the Battle of Atlantis that's set for Thanksgiving weekend. Meanwhile, Markintone has forecast projections for the end of the year.
The group bookings are looking exceptional. We will finish the year about 35% ahead of 2010 in actual group room nights. Next year, 2012, we are presently tracking 18% ahead of this year. And then in 2013, it's a little bit far out to tell, but right now we're about 10% ahead of 12.
And it seems as though visitors to Atlantis are taking special advantage of an airline credit offered by the Ministry of Tourism and their free night promotion.
We're on a countdown clock right now, which means, in effect, that at midnight tonight, this offer ends. So for the last 5 days, our bookings have been even more strong as people watch the countdown clock. It looks as if we will extend this program for another 2 weeks tomorrow morning because of its success.
And with all this good news on occupancy numbers, Atlantis officials haven't forgotten Bahama resorts. Can 2 mega resorts exist on one island, though? Mr. Markintone really thinks so.
Obviously, we're concerned when there's a flood of rooms coming onto the market. But it's not concern and panic as much as it is concern about what we all need to do, ourselves, Bahama, the promotion boards, to make sure our infrastructure is ready to absorb all these additional rooms.
Altavi's Munnings, ZNS News.
Executives at the Ministry of Environment continuing their campaign of energy conservation. This time, they took their message to school children. Carla Palmer has the story.
If only 11-year-old Jaden Fritz and 9-year-old Janelle Freckleton, 2 students out of 383 enrolled at Xavier College, got the message of energy conservation, the campaign, championed by the Ministry of Environment, would still have been worthwhile.
Every time my dad leaves his lights on, I turn them off, and I see all the other lights. I turn them off, and I do not use the fridge to keep me cool.
When we waste energy, we cause our parents to pay a lot of light bill money, and that we should take care of the electricity more often.
It appears that the children are more aware and educated on energy conservation than before. Principal of Xavier College is Denise Cooper-Lewis.
You cannot be too young to start with energy conservation. We've asked the teachers and the children when they're leaving the room to turn off the light sources, to turn off the fans. Also, we've taken out the microwaves from the classrooms that we had.
In addition to Xavier College, students at Claridge Primary also embraced the initiative. Environment Minister Earl DeVos says the campaign has been going very well.
The government itself can reduce the cost of subsidizing BEC, water and sewage, and the schools. Go to any school this week and you'll see an indication as to how inefficient the use of energy is practiced, and that's one of the reasons we want to spend particular attention in the schools.
According to Minister DeVoe, the effort toward energy conservation all comes down to the bottom line of money and savings.
With just the current price of fuel, if people change their habits on things that they have to do every day, they can achieve a tremendous impact on their everyday life.
As environmental officials continue to hammer home the message of energy conservation, they are hoping more people will make the right choices now to preserve our environment in the future. Carla Palmer, ZNS News.
It's almost that time of year when we celebrate those Bahamians who have served our country with honor and pride. We're talking about our Bahamian World War II vets. Beginning tonight and leading to Veterans Day on Friday, Ianthea Smith will be highlighting a number of them. Tonight, we begin with 2 war vets who served in the European service.
Soldiers never die, they only fade away. And it's true that many of our Bahamian war veterans have now faded into mere memories as they're leading ordinary lives. But their stories are anything but.
We didn't get that down to the action and stuff. But we hear the guns and things firing off and so forth like that, you know, and things. Close to that. Because, but man, I tell you, it was something. I'll never forget it.
In a tiny room at the Bethel Baptist Church on Meeting Street, a Baintown boy and a stellar athlete known as Cabbage reunited for the first time in 65 years. But much like true friends, it didn't take much for war veterans Anthony Vega and Ambrose Hanna to pick up right where they left off.
I have nothing to regret.
So it's
a wonderful life.
A lot of dumminess. Vega and Hannah are 2 true Bahamian heroes, real-life soldiers and squad mates who served in the Bahamas Battalion in World War II. Traveling together to Jamaica, Virginia, and Italy, theirs are true war stories.
No. I didn't kill anybody. I went there to fight, a good peaceful fight.
Mm-hmm. We went up and down those mountains and stuff like that too, you know. We had our share. But I learned a whole lot by traveling. That's an education by itself.
These were young Bahamian men in their prime who say at the time, second-guessing whether or not to fight for your country was considered taboo.
I was a young fellow and I wanted to fight. I was delighted that I could go there to represent and do something for my country, which we were under the British.
And during our interview, that spirit of pride, dignity, and honor still resonated.
I'm glad I went. I went to the war. Leave your young boy. I was 19 years old when I joined the Army. If you got your mind made to do something, you do it. You don't fool around. Just look at something and say, well, I think I can do that next week or something like that. Do it now.
These decorated war veterans admitted, though, that being away from home for long stretches of time was a heavy burden to tote. But the experiences, lessons, and stories, they say, can't be bought.
Then the girls were there and they were calling you, they didn't like that. So most of the fellas, when they see they did like that. But then they were calling us. You see, that's...
Oh, that means come.
Yeah, now then they say bye, they come like that.
I see, it was backwards.
And then we find out that we took over.
After the war, both men headed back to Nassau, where they went into the workforce, started families, and in their own words, lived the good life. Part 2 of our War Veteran Special continues Tuesday with Stanley Benaby and John McKay. Ianthea Smith, ZNS News.